Live on LinkedIn. Happy Friday, everyone. Thank you for joining us. And whilst we're waiting for you to join us, we'll just kick off with this conversation. I know it's well anticipated because I think we have the highest number of attendees for this live session. And it is my pleasure to have this conversation with you. And let's kick it off. Just remember, please, we can't see you, but we do see your comments that you're leaving for us. So just say hi and drop an emoji, and feel free to ask us any questions during the sessions, or don't ask me, ask Alexie. Over to you. Please introduce yourself.
Thanks so much, Anna. Thanks for having me. So my name is Alexie O'Brien, and I have a business, a consulting business called the Leadership Academy.AI. And I have really taken my career. I've worked in across a number of industries, from HR, manufacturing, retail. Spent a lot of time at Lululemon and Lorna Jane and Rip Curl, and been able to bring that experience into how can I support and help businesses translate this really exciting, scary, challenging time that is AI. So that's what I'm now doing, supporting businesses, training their leaders in how to bring AI into their workforce.
Incredible. And we so need it. I saw the announcement on LinkedIn today about the Coles Group became the first Australian retailer to roll out ChatGPT Enterprise at scale. This is exciting.
I think it's fantastic to see that kind of large business at scale roll that out. But there's so many things that it puts in place for the business, because it means that the privacy issues that really don't go away just because you've got a paid account. But with that enterprise version, some of those security features are definitely locked in, which means they can also integrate more effectively with the apps and connectors into other parts of their business. So it really allows the business and their teams to really get the most out of a tool like ChatGPT.
Yes, I was very pleasantly surprised, I must say. I saw it first thing in the morning and I thought, this is very timely. This is brilliant. Good on them.
Absolutely.
Well, you worked with leaders across industries, as you've mentioned, from retail to tech and to elite sport as well. What common challenges are you seeing as people try to adopt to this new chapter of AI-driven leadership?
Yeah, well, having worked across many industries, some of the biggest challenges I'm seeing, they're not technical, they're really psychological. It's where to start, it's how to scale, it's how to keep up. Most leaders are really carrying around a mental model of kind of like the old world of control and certainty, and expertise is power. But AI really kind of dismantles that. Suddenly, expertise is actually really equally distributed. Knowledge, it's instant. And that edge now comes from how fast you can learn, adapt, and connect meaningfully, not how much you already know. So we go from decision fatigue and perfection analysis to, underneath them all, having the same truth that people are really trying to lead with that operating system from yesterday. But the people I think that are going to continue to thrive are the ones going from knowing to now curating, so to speak. So from being the source of the answers to be the designer of the better questions, workflows, and building a culture around AI and how to think with AI, not just about AI. So it'll be the ones that are leading with curiosity and not perfection, while they're still keeping humans at the center of it.
Oh, I love this. Leading with curiosity, not perfection. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is for me when people, the whole indecision fatigue, and when people sitting on the fence and nothing happens, and then you speak to them months later, still nothing happened, and playing it safe. But I think the whole
Yeah.
shift in AI, I think, created that speed to market, and there are no excuses not to do it. And the whole, it put innovative mindset on steroids to a degree.
Yeah, but I also hear a lot of people say, oh, well, everything's changing so fast. It's not necessarily the indecision, but it's like, well, I'm going to wait until it settles, until it gets better and it's locked in before we start. And
Yes,
I think
true.
that's a bit of a danger in and of itself, because it is moving so quickly that it's not that you'll get left behind, but we've got to keep our people up with the times and give them the tools, because we'll be at risk from a more on talent perspective. People want to be given the tools that helps their jobs be easier. They want to be given the training to be able to do that as well. So I think that that's an important part of the journey, is that we can't just wait and think that, well, they're saying that AI is end of the doomsday world and there's no ROI on it. But the reality is somewhere in the middle. And as leaders, we've actually got to empower our people, create a culture around them, give them the tools, give them the training, and make sure that they're safe, and allow them to help us figure out the ROI and the use cases along the way.
That's so true. You've given me a very good segue to my next question, where you talk a lot about this helping leaders move from overwhelm to action.
Yeah.
Where does that overwhelm usually come from? And what's the first mindset shift you think that helps people move past this?
Yeah, well, part of it is absolutely that volume of information about AI, the noise and the pace of change. So call it the data deluge. By 2025, the end of 2025, we have created 175 zettabytes of data. And if we tried to store that on standard CDs, it would actually stack over 23 million miles high. That's 100 times to the moon and back. It's just phenomenal. So no wonder we're feeling overwhelmed, right? We've got 500 hours of video on YouTube, 350,000 tweets every minute, 1.7 million Facebook posts every minute. So it's no wonder we're drowning in data. And of course, then we've got the media headlines and the doomsday is upon us and all jobs will go kind of news. So, but the overwhelm doesn't necessarily come from the AI itself. It comes from the illusion that we're supposed to understand it all before we start, and we know what we're going to do with it and what the outcomes are going to be and what the return on investment should be. So leaders look at that pace of change and the acronyms and the hype and freeze, and they think that action really requires mastery, where really the mastery, or at least the progress, will come through action. So the first mindset, I think is important, is that we've got to go from comprehension to that curation piece. We don't need to know everything. In fact, it's impossible. I don't know everything. It's just not physically possible, but we've just got to know how to start to frame the right questions, test small experiments, and build confidence through small results, step by step. And once we as leaders stop trying to win the race to understanding and start to design those small, safe to learn pilots and wins, our overwhelm will start to turn into momentum. So I use the term AI fluency. It's not just about it's not the tools, it's about comfort in the face of this continued uncertainty.
This is so well said. There are so many keywords that I would like to unpack. But, I think I posted on LinkedIn last week about the term done is better than perfect, which was invented in Silicon Valley for all tech startups, just to gear them into action and launch them when it doesn't have to be 100%. To your point, no one is an expert, even though they may say that they are, but we are not. We just try to do the best we can with this
Yeah.
never ending, changing, evolving world, which is overwhelming. And this is why we're having this discussion.
And I think that's really important for leaders, is that, we've actually got a model that we don't know it all, and that we're in there learning alongside of our teams, and that we're not always going to get it right. And that's, I think, important when we're looking to lead change, or at least get the team started in this. We've got to be in it learning alongside them and showing them that we don't know it all. And, that can be really hard for leaders. But that's the truth. So if we can create that safety in that environment, that we just got to get started and we're all learning it alongside of each other and sharing the failures as well as the wins, I think that's a big key. That's step in the right direction.
Agree. This is a good start. So we'll start with the mindset and we'll progress to what it actually means. So what does you think leading smarter actually look like in practice, and how do you help teams that embedding those AI tools in a way that stick?
Yeah. Well, leading smarter, I think, starts with clarity and not that complexity. We're reacting or operating faster and trying to keep up isn't the same as thinking or leading smarter at all. It's really about I think designing work so people can spend less time on low value friction and more time in thinking and connecting and solving. And I really help teams by mapping the pain points, the tasks that are taking so much grunt work, 90 minutes, and the reports that no one's actually reading, and the meetings that actually could just be summaries. Looking at those and designing practical workflows around them, so automated brief builders or meeting to action summaries. So the trick is really to get AI integrated into the rhythm of the workday, rather than a bolt-on side project. I heard something the other day. It's funny that we're starting AI enabled everywhere. People are like shouting it from the rooftops, which is quite funny. Like as this bolt-on. The reality for customers and where we're headed is that it's an expectation into the future. It's almost like logging onto a website for a customer saying it's internet enabled. That's the old. Like, it's just now going to be an expected. And if we can see it as it's just the price of admission for how we do business rather than a bolt-on, it might continue to integrate into the rhythm of our work days. And I think once teams also start to see time coming back, trust will continue to build. And that's how we know that technology should be working well, because it's not this big thing that's right and center in the front of us. But one of the things I also see for teams is, even though we are demonstrating calculable return on investment, because we can just like run a prompt in ChatGPT, tell me what I've been working on this week and how much time you estimate it might have saved. And we're seeing a lot of that. Even if you do a meeting summary, you're saving like half an hour here and there, and it all adds up. But what I'm finding is people aren't actually it's the leadership work, right? Stepping back and looking at, well, what do I need to add in and take out of my calendar and my diary, and asking those smarter questions, leading smarter. And the question is, where are we actually spending effort that no longer aligns with our highest priorities?
It's a very good question.
Yeah, if we can actually, in the space that we are creating, block off that time, because all people I see that they're just doing more. They're just topping more and more in to their already busy week, and they're actually being more productive, but it doesn't feel like it. So we're not creating the space to do the reflection on the wall. Let's ask ourselves some more strategic questions around where I'm spending my time, and our leaders looking at, as a business, are we just getting caught up in busy or comparison or, shiny bauble new tool? Like, what is the work that we actually should be doing right now for this year to be winning?
It's a beautifully framed structure, I think, that you're suggesting, and very smart questions as well. Because I also like your take on making incremental and changes, and it doesn't have to be overwhelming, because it doesn't have to be one giant project that needs to be rolled out perfectly to 100% perfection within 6 months. But what can we do every single day to make it better? Because over time it compounds, right?
Oh, absolutely. And you'd be surprised how many of those tasks that add up to time saved. But you've really got to be intentional with the rest of that time and starting to block off. Google used to have that 20% week, where they had, every employee had 20% to work on customer innovation. Where can we start to, like when I have run a training course over a 10-week period, I really try to empower the teams. Like, you've had an hour and a half blocked off for AI training. Keep that hour and a half locked into your diary to keep learning, because you've got the tools and you're empowered now, and experiment with AI, or create some thinking space on what you could be doing differently. So hopefully they're taking that to heart and actually doing it.
But this is so simple though, because if the leaders can just introduce that change and encourage their teams to lock in that an hour and a half, could be a week or a day,
Yeah.
just for learning and upskilling, can you imagine over time what would happen to that organization?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's the compound effect, right? It's incredible.
Yes, it's a very good suggestion. Thank you. So there are a lot of positives around AI, but there is also a lot of fear that it will replace humans.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't succumb to that fear, by the way. I think it's just ridiculous,
yeah,
but it does exist.
yeah.
How do you help leaders and teams use AI to enhance that human capability rather than diminish it?
Yeah, I think firstly, like recognizing that it's natural. Like fear is natural. Every major technological wave and non-technological wave we've ever had triggers it. The printing press, electricity, the internet. But history, if we look back, shows the same pattern. So technology replaces tasks, not people. So unless leaders fail to redesign the work, 60% of jobs that exist today didn't exist in 1940. Not even 100 years ago. 60% of all of the jobs on the earth didn't exist. So we've got to have faith that we will be able to reshift where people are working. So, what I'm really passionate about is helping focus and reframing AI as an amplifier of human potential and human capacity. So AI taking over repetition, so we can continue to elevate creativity, judgment, sense making, compassion, the things that machines really can't replicate. So, what parts of our job are rote, repetitive, pain points, that's where AI belongs. So we get to design new roles that lean into distinctly human skills, narrative, trust, ethics, I think, and governance of these, work at AI, machine blended workforces that we'll have in the future. So the outcome isn't necessarily fewer humans, but more human related work. So I also teach people, there's 5 stages that people will go through psychologically with AI. The first one is fear and resistance, right? That's just the first stage. You can't avoid it. So it's going to take my job or it's going to take my business. I don't want to learn it. It's not going to help me. It's not going to take what I do. And then into stage 2 with cautious curiosity. Okay, well, I'll try it on this low stakes task and give it a go and see what happens. And into stage 3, we get to some tentative testing and see how it goes. Stage 4, we get into, oh wow, this actually saves me time. So some confident application, and people start to use it regularly now. And then into stage 5, where we've got real innovation and advocacy, and people starting to share, well, let me show you what I discovered and how amazing is this. So I think that's important to know, where you're at on the stage, and this too shall pass. Like there's those stages. If we keep putting one foot in front of the other, and keep modeling for our teams, that curiosity, I think, is really important.
Yes, and the main thing is to start.
Absolutely. I've got this saying, so you can't get good waiting to get good, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Once leaders learn these tools, how do they turn capability into culture? And so it's not just another shiny initiative, another tag, but part of how the organization operates.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about this one. Culture is important. So, capability without culture is kind of like installing a new engine in a car but never teaching people how to drive it. So, culture shifts when leaders can model the behavior and when they're openly using it, sharing wins and failures, and building rhythms inside the business of action and improvement opportunities. It certainly helps. And what I try to anchor all of our programs to is like a visible ROI as well as storytelling every week. And it's not just like what worked, it's like, well, what didn't work? So we can actually, support each other and look at, well, was there enough context in there? What were the specific prompts or questions that we asked that, we might need to reword? So we should be embedding reward loops and shared prompt libraries and peer coaching, a little bit of a culture council in and around AI, so that curiosity really becomes currency, and the culture is shifting from what I hear a little bit about, over the last 12 months, I've seen this starting to shift from what's allowed to what's possible now. So embedding AI into culture is really about designing habits, not hype, and not policing it. We've got to have those guardrails in place. So it's really about daily behavior rather than slogans on a wall. And I've seen, press, there was, big hype out of the US when Shopify first said, we are AI first, where we're mandating that we should be AI first, but then we just get compliance rather than curiosity and innovation, so it's a real balance, I think, by creating, empowering, and making it okay with, and respecting that people are going to go on that 5-stage psychological journey. How do we give them the tools, train them in what's safe, and then create an atmosphere of testing and trying? It's okay to get it wrong.
You make it all sound so easy.
Well, it's just leadership at the end of the day.
That's true.
It's just leadership. So
Yeah, but as I listen to you, I have a very clear roadmap right now how any organization can roll it out, because you literally broke it down by steps. Where do you need to start? How are you going to continue? And what you need to introduce in the process. This is a brilliant framework.
awesome.
I'd love to talk to you about your lifestyle and living arrangements, because we had this conversation a few months ago and I was fascinated by it. So, you live off grid
I
on
do.
a regenerative farm, which
Yep.
feels like the perfect metaphor for balance. How does that lifestyle influence the way you think about technology, leadership, and growth?
Yeah. Yes, I do live up with it. I'm actually not at the farm today. I'm actually visiting my daughter in Albury. But living off grid certainly keeps me grounded in cause and effect. I can't put the dish, well, we have a dishwasher, but I can't put it on at nighttime. So we've had to just like reach, because if I do that, our batteries go down. And if it's raining tomorrow, I'm going to be in trouble. So when you grow your own food and you're generating your own power, you become deeply aware of systems and how small inputs can shape big outcomes, right? So the same with systems thinking approaches is how I approach leadership and AI. So technology is another ecosystem. So you can either extract from it until it collapses or regenerate value by really redesigning it sustainably. So with humans at the center, I think is really key. So living simply forces clarity as well. So what do we actually need to thrive? Steve and I have gone through this journey of shifting how we approach buying groceries, from not what do we feel like eating on the menu this week. It's like, what have we got in the freezer and what's in the garden, what is here and now. So I really found that what do we need to thrive is about less, not more. And I think in leadership, that becomes clarity, like connection and clarity and contribution. So the farm reminds me that growth isn't about doing more, it's about doing what matters better and with care for the system that we're actually part of. Hopefully that
This
answers that
is
question.
so well said. The simplicity, can I tell you, this is like my theme of the year. I actually even adopted this saying that everyone's just sick and tired of hearing me saying it, but bigger is not better, better is better.
No, yeah, yeah,
It
absolutely.
just if we just simplify our lives and the way we operate and how um, we progress and how we evolve and how we build the relationship and how we do things, how we operate within the community and the team and the business, I think it's we're going to be facing a beautiful reality, or much better than one that we have. So the whole the simplicity part is definitely speaks to my soul.
Yes, and it's still a practice. I'm still trying
Oh,
to carve off pieces. There's some, because we're at the farm, like there's some forced pieces that you just have to simplify and cull back. But it's definitely still a practice.
absolutely. And it should be, because everything changes. So to your point, the way even how you review what you're going to eat during the week. So it all depends what's in the garden, what's in the freezer. So some things you just can't pre-plan well in advance. But my next question does talk a little bit about the future. So if you look at 12 months ahead, I don't want to even say 24. Let's just go 12 months ahead. But you can go 2 years from now. What new skills or qualities will define the most effective leaders in this AI enabled world?
Yeah, I think I mean, it's really useful to use AI as starting to map out, what does the future hold for us as leaders? Because it's a probabilistic, it bases its answers on creating patterns. You can do this kind of work as a thinking partner quite effectively, which is really interesting. So I think the most effective leaders will be translators in the future that can build this bridge between human meaning and machine capability. Our hard skills will continue to evolve really fast, but differentiators will be adaptability. It'll be a human emotional intelligence and ethical literacy as well. So I think we'll see I've mentioned this word a few times today, like increased level of, or a premium on qualities like curiosity. So leaders who are leading and learning publicly, not privately, and humbly. I don't know it all. Leading with clarity, the ability to really simplify complexity, communicate direction when things feel foggy and we don't know which way to turn. And also with courage. Cole's leading with the ChatGPT enterprise license is courageous leadership. The willingness to test, to fail, and to learn out loud. So leadership, I think, is certainly shifting from certainty to sense making. How do we distill through the noise and focus on what really matters and step back and ask really good quality questions? Because with our large language models, we can use it as a thinking partner, but we should still be the thought leader in how we're leveraging it and using it. So we've got to make sense of what is coming at us. So I think those next wave of leaders will be those that can really build trust through these uncertain times and create and design environments and cultures that allows AI to amplify the best of people, not the busiest parts of them.
Yeah, it definitely requires a human brain, and curiosity, I think, is key because LLM is, well, ChatGPT for sure, tend to be quite agreeable on a lot of things. So you need
Yes.
to keep it very polite. So you need to keep challenging it to
I've
get to the
actually,
core.
so you know how in ChatGPT you can actually use 5 different personalities now. I've actually flipped mine over to the cynical one, and it's really quite sassy. I enjoy that much more than the sycophantic type style of communication. It's like, well, you'd have me go to the depths of the, to pull this together for you. So you can go and change. There's 5 different personality types in ChatGPT.
Well, I actually didn't know that. I'm sassy myself. So if you want to have a sassy communication partner,
Yeah.
you can call me anytime. But I didn't know. I have to look
Yeah,
this
just
up.
go into settings and into the
Settings.
personalization, and there's it's just set to the default one normally, which is real. I found it really to be too sycophantic. So there is a nerdy one, and there's a cynical one, and there's a helpful, insightful one. So rather than you having to set your global settings on your own style, you can actually just choose one of those, and it changes the model tone.
Oh, amazing. Thank you for the tip. I'll definitely do this after the call.
You're welcome.
So, for everyone feeling behind or intimidated by AI, where is the best place to start? And what's one small shift they can make and that can make a real difference?
Yes, it's my favorite word of the day. I think start with curiosity. Pick one problem. I'm like, we're not going to be able to keep up. There's just so much change happening. There's so many tools, and so much is happening out there. But focus on what your problem today is, and something that's frustrating you, whether it's a report that you dread or a weekly update that's taking a long time, and start there. Use AI to simplify that, or see how you can start to shave some of that time down, automate it, automate a workflow. The magic will happen when we start looking at AI to stop being abstract and start being really useful. So the smallest, most powerful shift is when we start to just get into creation. So using it, don't just read it, don't just listen to what's happening in AI. Actually get in and use it for the pain points, the things that frustrate us. So treat it like a thought partner, not a threat. Ask it to help you think through. You're struggling with something or you don't like it, ask it, how can you help me with this? So the leaders who continue to win won't be the ones who know the most. They'll be the ones who are open to trying things and having a go at what's next.
And stay curious. It's definitely the
Word of the
theme
day.
of this yes, conversation.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
Alexei, it's been such a pleasure speaking with you. I thoroughly enjoyed our conversation. I think if we'll lock in another conversation a month from now, we will have many updates to speak about it again. But we might unpack and speak a little bit more about your farm too.
Pleasure.
But thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure having you on. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everyone who joined us live as well. Happy Friday, everyone. Until next week. We'll see you soon.